Hey, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Weston Martinez coming to you here from the Secretary of State's office. Just one that we're going to have a press conference, so everybody that's here, y'all get ready. We'll take questions after a brief statement and give you a little bit of background on what's going on here today in Texas and what's happening in our elections. Again, I'm Weston Martinez, leader here in Texas, has been involved in voter fraud, fighting voter fraud as recently as yesterday and today, which is part of what this press conference is about. As you guys are aware, we worked with Project Veritas and James O'Keefe to get the woman arrested out of Bexar County. That was caught doing wild mail ballot fraud across the state of Texas, most in Houston and in San Antonio and in South Texas. So we're going to give just a minute for everybody to catch up online, and then we'll continue. Stand by.
Live. 12 people are watching it right now.
Yep, we're good. That's a video.
No, I just heard you.
Okay, pick it up. It's on. So for those of y'all that are watching, you can find this on my YouTube channel. If you just go to Weston Martinez and the YouTube link, you can find it there. You can also find it streaming on my Facebook page. For those of y'all that follow me on my Facebook page, it is there as well. So we're going to run through this. I know we got some other people that are showing up, and then we'll do a second take here in just a minute. So because of the work of Project Veritas and what took place during that last election, we also identified the necessity to create an organization that was focused on voter fraud, which is why the Voter Fraud Bureau of Investigation was created. So you can follow that on different platforms, and that organization is focused on not only teaching people how to identify voter fraud, but how to make sure that they actually are being able to hold accountable the election administrator, the election poll workers, and also be a poll watcher, poll worker as well. So that is part of the background at why we created that so that we can have fair elections and elections with integrity here in the state of Texas. We're here at the Secretary of State's office because of what has taken place in our election and what has taken place not only in Harris County, but in other locations here in the state of Texas that we'll be discussing and we'll be talking about it. So I know we've got some folks that are signaling that they're having trouble seeing this online, so we're just giving you just a second to make sure that we have the ability to see everything. Talk to me, guys. We good?
It's not live.
Okay, so we'll do this, and then we'll come back. We'll do another one on YouTube separately. Okay, so stand by. So just to go through it quickly, Voter Fraud Bureau of Investigation had an investigator inside of Central Count and working in several places across the state of Texas. In North Texas, we had investigators that were there working through the election night. point, the Harris County election administrator has resigned, and we are calling for the Secretary of State to secure all of the data in all 254 counties here in the state of Texas because of the additional irregularities that have been found not only in Harris County, but in Dallas County and in Tarrant County and other counties. You might be watching something that you didn't think smelled right. You need to reach out to us so that we can help identify what to do with that information. At Central Count, part of the testimony that we're going to turn in with affidavits to the Secretary of State will identify that there were irregularities in tallies of machines at the Secretary of State's office. When jump drives were finally received at 3 and 4 in the morning, they were not quantifying the data properly, meaning that there was something impacting the total vote number so that the gross was different. Again, as I said earlier at the beginning of this press conference, we're not going to release all of the findings that we have. We are viewing this as an active investigation that we feel very strongly and confident that the Secretary of State is going to open up an investigation, and that the Attorney General's office will also open up an investigation as well. Furthermore, the Secretary of State has the ability to give waivers to counties, allowing them to have waivers on their polling machines. Those waivers can no longer be allowed and no longer be permitted. We know we've been absent a Secretary of State until this one has been appointed from our investigation. That data, those approvals took place before this current acting Secretary of State took office. So we want not only an audit of the 254 counties, but we also want an audit of the chain of command that was involved in making those decisions as everything moved forward. You go ahead, man. As everything moved forward in those approvals. Early vote. Right now, we have an advisory code in Section 5B to print the early vote results and tapes at the close of the polls. That is currently not happening in the state of Texas in certain counties. That is something that is required to be mandated by law. That is something that we are calling on the Secretary of State after we turn in our paperwork today. That is something that we will ask the Secretary of State to do to specific counties in Texas. Ballot by mail totals in certain counties are still not being able to be reconciled. That is a grave concern. We all know at this point that Harris County had 10,000 mail ballots that were found unreconciled. And all this leads us to the conclusion that not only do we need to finish the work and actually make voter fraud a felony in Texas, but we need to have the leadership in Texas call for a fourth special session to absolutely ensure that our elections are safe and secure. This is not a Democrat or Republican issue. This is a citizen of Texas issue. And if we cannot trust the elections, then we cannot trust those that have been chosen to be our leaders. In this situation, we know that there are many concerns with not only the way the election was handled, but the mechanics involved. We're not suggesting that numbers would have changed in the top races, but we are suggesting that you could have impacts in those races that are very close or narrowly contested, or in those down ballot races, in the county level races where things very much are decided by thin margins. Regardless, one vote illegally cast or one vote improperly counted is too much. And we're calling on this leadership, not only the Secretary of State, but the leadership here in the state of Texas, to call for the increase of the penalty and to finish the work that was started with SB 1 and get it done. The grassroots spoke, the grassroots came and testified from both sides. We need to fix this issue today. We can no longer wait. I know there's some people here that would like to ask a couple questions. We'll take a couple, and then we're going to go to stream it on our YouTube channel, which we advertise. So, first question.
Do you have specific whistleblowers in various counties on all of this information?
I do have specific whistleblowers in some of the counties. We have affidavits being secured, and we're not going to release which all counties they are because If anybody is doing something nefarious, we don't want them to know where to wipe the fingerprints off of. Next question.
How many ballots do you think this will encompass? How many people do you think is going to be affected on their ballots?
From the elected or from the ballots themselves from the people that voted?
The ballots themselves will be voted.
So with the last election fraud case that I was a part of that made the national news out of Bexar County, we know that that group, in a very unsophisticated fashion, impacted nearly 400,000 votes across the state of Texas. So when we look at mail ballots, just simply mechanical mail ballots, having that many votes, you know, there's a concern about how many there is. Now, thankfully, that person was arrested and is now facing charges. So their operation was a little bit disorganized this go around. So we don't know exactly how many votes were in there, but we know that the irregularities that we're seeing are not limited to Harris County. They're not limited to Tarrant County or Dallas County. We've had reports of things in Abilene and in Lubbock, and of course in the Rio Grande Valley. Some of those range from polls not being open to people not being allowed to vote.
Will you contemplate specific action to force the count of the early vote as at the close of the early vote?
Yes, the complaint that I'll file with the Secretary of State today will request that not only that they secure all of the machines, all of the hardware, all of the software associated, but that they would call for a forensic audit to be executed in certain counties in the state of Texas. I would say that most of them are within the top 10 counties because that makes up a majority of the vote. So that would allow us to have the quickest sample in the smallest universe. So, yes, ma'am. So the rally stations in larger counties, they will take the information on a jump drive, and just round numbers, they'll take 100 locations and they'll centralize them to 50 rally stations. Those rally stations are where they will take those jump drives and email them downtown to the central count. So if count is receiving the data electronically, then all of the abilities that we've talked about, from the ability to be hacked, accessed, are 100% vulnerable. In fact, it's the most vulnerable position they could be. We do know that the chain of custody was broken during that time, and that's one of the things that we'll be reporting today to the Secretary of State. So this is going to conclude the Facebook Live part of this. Thank you all for your patience. We do know that technical difficulties happen, but we will now jump to a live stream on YouTube. So if y'all will just hold tight, and we'll try to repeat those questions for the folks on YouTube that we advertised we were going to be going live on. Thank you very much. This live stream will end now.